Now, we were talking earlier about home remedies, and I super glued a cut on my thumb. I thought, maybe you email us. We don't do a lot of taking of calls on the show randomly, but email me through our website, 1320wils.com. Let me know your home remedies for stuff. It's amazing to me the super glue worked. Well, I digress. So, she's one step away from being the leader of the free world, as they say, our vice president, Kamala Harris. And some folks would say it's a good thing that we don't hear a lot from her these days, but NBC News does this poll, and Kamala Harris has the dubious distinction of having the lowest net negative rating of any modern vice president in history of their polling. Joining us now, commentator, political strategist from Young Voices, Andrew Donaldson, is back with us. Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
I'm good, sir. Hey, remember New Skin when you were a kid? I think that stuff was super glue, and they just relabeled it because that's sure what it felt like. I mean, you actually had to physically peel it off later. So I remember that one. Maybe that's one of those home remedies. I don't know if they still have that stuff or not.
I don't know, but the super glue that I put on my thumb, you can't peel that off. It's there. It's just going to
it's there for the
wear
duration.
off. Man, it surprises me. I didn't want it to work. All right, well, we need to fix the wound of the vice presidency. Hey, there's a transition.
You're gonna need more glue than this. Look, the thing about Vice President Harris, and all due respect to her, she's never been popular. She didn't even make it into 2020 in her 2020 election campaign. She bailed out in December of 2019. She didn't even make it to Iowa. She's just never been that nationally popular. She lost to Joe Biden when became her vice president. So this shouldn't really surprise anyone. This is not that unusual for vice presidents in this part of the term. And to be frank, the president's not being very favorable right now. That hurts her, too. And as a vice president in a ceremonial position, she doesn't have any real way to do that because you can't upstage the main guy. And you get all the blame for whatever his issues are. This is just kind of what it is, and it shouldn't really surprise anybody, I don't think.
You just referred to Joe Biden as the main guy. I'm sorry, he's the big guy. Okay. How does this okay? How does this measure up to, say, Mike Pence or even, say, Dick Cheney, going way back?
Well, now Dick Cheney had the Vader nickname. It was way cooler for number one, and he really could, puts in his own wet work and that sort of thing. But we'll leave that for another day. Pence in October of 2019, that same poll, he wasn't doing much better. He's only about 1 point better in the negative thing. But again, this is not that unusual for vice presidents to not be that super popular. This ain't like the NFL where the backup quarterback's always super popular. Vice presidents, folks kind of know they don't really have a job except to be there in case of emergency, break glass, just don't do anything bad, just don't embarrass anybody. And Vice President Harris hasn't super impressed anybody when she has been in front of a microphone doing things. So this is just kind of what it is, and there ain't going to be no changing it.
Now, here's the theories and stuff that you hear bandied about is the Democrats are looking to get Joe Biden in because sometimes you wonder, you go like, really, come on, the guy he's super old. I'm sorry, he is.
No, he is.
He struggles with walking around. You can't deny, and I'm not being vitriolic in any way. I'm just saying the guy doesn't speak clearly. Most of the time. But so, okay. The theory is, okay, let's get Joe Biden in there and then let's have him get out of the way and make room for, in whatever way, for Kamala Harris. Do you think that's kind of a conspiracy theory, kind of weird, wacko idea there?
Yes, because nobody loves Joe Biden half as much as Joe Biden loves Joe Biden. He's waited almost 80 years to do this. He's not going anywhere. He's not getting out of the way. And remember, his model for the vice presidency, he was Obama's vice president. He was picked because he was not going to be any threat whatsoever to the popularity of Barack Obama. And he wasn't. And he did the good soldier, and he did well. And remember, that was supposed to be the capstone for him to ride off into retirement, and yet here we are. The other part of that is, there ain't nobody else. We just talked about her unpopularity. The Democratic Party on the national level does not have much of a bench right now. If they want to win in 2024, Joe Biden, with everything involved, as unpopular as he is, with all the problems he has, he's still their best option to win.
We're talking with Andrew Donaldson. He's a strategist, commentator, and keeps his fingers placed on the pulse nationally. Getting back to various vice presidents, I wasn't thinking about Al Gore, but gosh, Al Gore How was he at this rate? Was he down too? I mean, he was just one of those vice presidents just hung out? He seemed to be more involved in stuff.
Yeah, it was a different age, too, because remember, Clinton was really our first mass media internet president, for good and bad. The impeachment thing, remember the Lewinsky thing all came out because we were having the early ages of the internet. That's how that got out. It was just a different world. People forget Clinton was a TV star first and foremost. He had that charisma. The media was 100% behind him, especially the news media, which was at its apex of power and influence at the time because internet and social media hadn't fully developed to what it is now where you have alternatives. So he was really overshadowed. Plus, he has negative charisma. He has zero charisma. He was terrible. People forget what it's like to listen to Al Gore try to give a speech.
Oh, my gosh. Please.
People forget how bad that was. My first election was the 98 midterm. That's the impeachment election for you young kids. You can go Google that. Al Gore was terrible. But remember, we talk about, Hillary in Wisconsin. Al Gore goes to West Virginia one time. George Bush was the first Republican to flip that state. Al Gore, none of that Florida state happens. He's the president. So he kind of shot himself in the foot, even with his negative charisma and then, everything that happened after that. But, yeah, Al Gore was kind of the perfect vice president. He was boring as heck. The role of vice president is just don't hurt the main president guy and don't hurt the ticket, and maybe you'll get your chance next. That's the job. He was just so bloody boring. Nobody wanted to listen to the poor guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And
the internet too. So
yeah, that whole thing was his idea. Remember Bill Clinton? Just reminiscing here. I don't know how you are, but Bill Clinton on the Arsenio Hall show with shades playing the saxophone.
Oh yeah,
come on.
Yeah, but my first duty station was active duty was Little Rock, and he was just ending his presidency. And the stories folks in Little Rock would tell about when he was governor still. The thing about Clinton was everybody knew all the bad stuff. It just took the impeachment stuff to get it all out there. And now he's, almost a pariah in the Democratic Party itself. They don't really want him around because we know all the stuff, all the women, all the corruption, all that stuff, and then the Hillary stuff. But back in the mid-'90s, people just don't understand how popular Bill Clinton was. He was built up as the next Kennedy, and people treated him that way.
Yeah, he was, and young and all of that, relatively. All right, so back to Kamala Harris. Her low ratings, not out of the ordinary at this point, but does she have real serious, any sort of presidential aspirations down the line?
She does. I don't know how viable a candidate she's going to be. Again, she didn't even make it to Iowa in her own presidential campaign. So everybody's like, well, she'll be the next in line. Well, yeah, but this Democratic Party is not in stasis waiting around for Kamala Harris to take her turn. She's going to have a lot of competition. There's a lot of people that are already jockeying position for after 2024, for 2028. If you go out there and look, you got the Gavin Newsoms, you got the governor of Illinois, who's a self-funding billionaire, can spend as much money as he wants. There's plenty of other people. Shapiro is doing a really good job in Pennsylvania. Watch out for that guy. There's a lot of people out there. They're not going to wait their turn for her. She's going to be a little bit older by then. She's not going to be the new fresh face by then. And she's going to have been in the vice presidency where she doesn't have anything like a senatorial career that she had prior to point to. I think she's going to have a really hard time getting national traction in the Democratic Party in a future election.
Andrew Donaldson, strategist in the political realm, commentator, Young Voices. All right, we'll keep our eye on it and appreciate your time here this morning, Andrew. You're a good cat, and I'm going to go get some new skin. I'm going to see if it still exists. Super glue, try it. Hey, see you later, bud.
Take care.
Bye. 1320 WILS.